Get ready. Lave Radio.
Oi, how you doing, my brother? So you run some data and you left your little sidey and you're starting to think about maybe a ship that can punch a little bit harder. Well, the killback, the one with the little flappy wings, is just what the doctor ordered. It is multi-crew enabled and is the smallest ship with a fighter bay, so you can point and they will do your bidding. Ha! It's got 3 utility mounts, 2 small and 2 medium hard points, plus a whole batch of compartments. So if you want a bit of fun, grab a killback, my son.
We all know what it's like. You're busy managing your settlement when suddenly the alarms go off.
Oh no, not again.
That's right. A commander with a Federation naval rank of Admiral, an Imperial King no less, has landed in a ship worth over 100 million credits and is killing all your staff, while they look around for a 10 credit adhesive to glue an upgraded scope to their 100,000 credit assault rifle. They fly away with their super glue and you're left with a problem. How are you going to get your agricultural plant back up and running?
How am I going to get my plant up and running?
How are you going to find staff at short notice?
How am I going to find staff at short notice?
How are you going to deal with all those bodies?
There's bodies everywhere, and they've stained the carpet.
Wonder no longer. Call Aries Crime Scene Cleanup Services.
Hello, I'm Harry, from Harry's Mine. After a sudden increase in robberies and murders by commanders since 3307, I've gained valuable expertise in cleaning up bodies, recruiting new staff and restocking stationary lockers. Now you can benefit from my experience by signing up to our Crime Scene Cleanup Service subscription plan.
That's right. For only a small monthly fee, when your settlement alarms are activated, our rapid response cleanup crew will be dispatched, along with our patented Cadaver Scoop 150. The Cadaver Scoop 150 can be mounted to surface reconnaissance vehicles and skimmers to make tidying up your settlement a breeze.
Wow, the bodies are gone.
Our recruitment team has potential new employees on standby across the galaxy, ready to fill your vacant roles in security, logistics, administration, processing, and more.
My plant's operational again. Thanks, Aries Crime Scenes Cleanup Services.
Ari's Crime Scene Cleanup Services. We'll have your settlement as good as new before the next ship arrives. Cadaver Scoop 150 disposal bags sold separately.
Lave radio. It's even louder than me. Hey, wait a minute. That can't be right.
welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite.
And the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
And the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from the Orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads.
A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Good evening, Commanders, and welcome to episode 503 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite Dangerous and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, otherwise known as Colin Ford, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this session, we have our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Ed Levice.
And what a session it is.
Okay. We also have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psychit, otherwise known as Claire.
Hello.
Do we actually have the Chris Mark for contributing? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we do have the Chris Mark 4, the Tech Gibbon, who's teching and contributing as well, mostly because Alec Turner has decided to go and get stuffed. Yeah, he's away. He's away eating a lot of food with his family, so he's getting stuffed. See, wasn't an insult. But if you wish, you can join us live. We are hanging out in game in open. I do believe Ben is running around Jameson's Cobra, and we have the Chris Mark IV hanging around the usual spot in the bar. So if you can't get to us in game, you can also join us in the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat, or go straight to twitch.tv/laveradio, or look us up on YouTube, because we're doing the both. Right, so let's have a quick chat with the rest of the crew, see what they've been up to this week. Let's start with the Chris Mark IV.
Hello. You know, I feel that I come on here every time and I repeat the same thing again and again, and then I realise that I'm living the same week over and over, where I go out and I see a vintage Spider-Man. But again, that is what I've been out and done.
So it's around Spider-Man Day.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So it's different Spider-Man. We're now up to the Tom Holland movies, so we were Far From Home this week. So I was out seeing Spider-Man Far From Home and enjoying some drinks. Also, for whatever reason that I do not understand, they are also showing the Batman movies. So for the first time in a very, very long time, saw Batman and Robin on the big screen, featuring George Clooney Batman, Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, very, very intimate rubberized bat suits, and the Bat credit card were all on display at the cinema. So yeah, and I forgot how many Frozen, Freeze, cool, cold puns they managed to deploy through that entire film. It's like it was written by ChatGPT and told just fit in as many cold puns as you can.
Oh God, that killed the franchise for me.
It was
killed the franchise
for
for a lot of people.
It was definitely the nipple suit. That was the start and the end of the franchise.
Deploy the nipple suit, everyone. It was
nipple suit.
It's Dr. Freeze, or whatever he is, but he's cold, isn't he? That's why his nipples are showing. I'll see myself.
Chris, can I ask can I ask anyone a silly question? Was there an Adam West Batman film?
Yes, there was. There was one.
That was the cinema one.
Yeah, it went out to the cinema originally.
Okay.
There was, all the four major villains decided to take on Batman in a submarine, if I remember rightly.
Oh, Jesus.
That's the one where you had the bat shark.
Wasn't that a
repellent
Beatles
spray.
film?
No.
Wasn't the Beatles film something about a submarine as well and four people?
I can't remember that. Oh, you mean
It was a yellow submarine? Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Wasn't there a Beatles film about a submarine and four people?
Yes.
I didn't think I was being
Wow.
that obtuse.
There's a connection there, though, because the Mark Hamill said that the inspiration for the Joker were the blue minis from the Beatles movie. There you go. God knows where I dragged that one up from. Meanwhile,
it's all the facts.
Yeah, carry on, Chris.
503, your random trivia show.
No, I'm enjoying the random trivia. Yeah, so I've got no idea. There's probably a reason that they're reshowing Batman, very similar to the reason that they're reshowing Spider-Man films. I have barely been to see any new stuff. This week I'm going to see they're doing a preview thing of the new Transformers animated thing. So I'm an absolute child and going off to see that. So
Chris, I think you just answered your own question there, though.
Why are they reshowing stuff?
Because there's no good new stuff, and there's good old stuff.
I know. I've not been interested in Beetlejuice. I was not interested in the new Alien film. So yeah, I've been seeing old Batman and old Spider-Man and loving it. In game, not been doing a lot in Elite, I've got to be honest. I have dug in a little bit more on my Mass Effect session, but I've not got very far in it.
I'm so proud of you.
I don't know, but I've done barely anything. So yeah, my Elite commander's been feeling a little bit neglected recently, so I'm in the bar treating it to a drink. And that's been me in game.
Cool. Okay. Ben.
Yeah, my week's been busy with real life. And today, for the 40th anniversary, I thought, you know what, I'll go and come out to Jameson's memorial. Not memorial, his Cobra. And while I was here, I was like, hey, you know what, there's loads of stuff I can pick up. So I've been basically running around here, grabbing some stuff before the show. Because I could, basically. It was fun. Well, it was riding around in circles getting stuff, but, for some definition of fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, what about yourself, Claire?
Oh, what have I been up to? I've managed to make myself sick again because I went out in public. We went on Wednesday evening. We went out into Cardiff into there's a Cardiff exhibition centre, which I'd never been in before. I've lived in South Wales for like 6 years. I didn't even know that it existed, but it's right near the St David's Centre. It's this really circular building. It's made specifically for expeditions. One of those. No, something. Exhibitions. There's the word. Oh my God. It's made entirely for exhibitions.
It says something when I have to correct you.
Yeah, I know. That was a really weird reverse situation. I don't know what's happening. But yeah,
I've got a feeling you've got expeditions on the brain, though, really.
I mean. Anyway, we went to see Texas, supported by Katie Tunstall, which was brilliant. I was having a really shitty pain day, but it was brilliant. And they were like excellent. Charlene Spiteri is just such a good entertainer in general, other than just still having such a belting voice, just an excellent entertainer. But obviously, because I was in a crowd of people, either myself or Chris was going to get sick. I got sick first this time, and I have passed it on to him. So we're both been feeling pretty sorry for ourselves due to sickness and illness and buggy type things. Not COVID, but understandable that we thought it might be COVID, but just feeling grotty and those kind of good stuff. In game, what have I been up to? Something that we'll probably end up talking about a little bit more when we come around to things that are actually happening in game. I've been participating in a war, getting my hands dirty with BGS again, because of imminent movements of mega ships, which is very, very exciting. In Elite, that's what I've been doing. I've also there's been 2 expeditions. That's why I had expeditions on the brain, but there's been 2 expeditions on the bounce in No Man's Sky. So there's been a new like 2 weeks ago, a new update dropped, the Aquarius update, and you can now fish in No Man's Sky, and it's brilliant. They've brought it in really, really well. It's such the natural progression to updating the oceans and the water functionality is having this fishing mechanic, and it's so much fun. The new expedition sort of like revolved around the different types of fish that you can fish. I'm not one for games with casual fishing in. I'm not normally like that. It was really fun. It's been really fun today, and that's also included in the special effect. I'm going to pimp it like maybe 4 times this show. The special effect 1 special day sale. There's a Hello Games bundle. There's Subnautica. There's loads of cool stuff. There is going to be a link to it in the show notes, and you can click on it. And if you buy any of the games in that bundle, your money, a portion of the funds goes to special effect. So have a look on the list. You might be interested in getting a new game and giving money to our favorite charity.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Excellent. Right. Well, just quickly, I'm still recovering from COVID. As you can probably hear, I'm occasionally having to mute the mic as I cough bits of foam out of my lungs. God knows what the heck is in this thing. I haven't been playing much Elite because of that, but I made up for it at the weekend because I went on a major Elite binge, because I have now decided that there's a system called N8, and there's the N8 gang, and I'm going to make them hate me. So I'm running everything. I'm going to make N8 hate me. So I'm just going to try and get as much negative influence with them as possible until they just attack me on sight. So, yes, that's what I'm doing, which just ironically, it's close to a system that we might be talking about later. Anyway.
To yin to your yang, are you going to find an M8 system to come mates with?
No, I think we'll stick with the N88.
All right.
Quite like that.
Right.
So yeah, apart from that, I finished off Final Fantasy 15, which is a very good fishing game, and that's like it. I don't think I've got a better one yet, but as usual, at the end of that, I have waterworks, mental breakdown, blubbering, the whole thing. Get that out of the way already, because Final Fantasy 16 downloaded. It's on my PC, and I'm waiting. And after this show, I might, just get involved with Final Fantasy 16, which is taking a very Game of Thrones turn. But yeah, looking forward to that. So yeah, that's me. Right. Let's have a look at what else is new. The development news, what the devs said this week, well, nothing. But Frontier have dropped their results for 2023-24. And it's good news, kind of. They're back to being profitable. They made £900,000 profit last year. However, they've still got a massive amount of costs that they have to pay out for existing properties. We suspect that might have something to do with F1.
Okay.
Realm of Ruin, and that other place that they had to bring in. So yeah, I'm hoping that Elite is not included in that. Although I've got a sneaky suspicion it might not be. Of course, we still all feel for the staff that they had to make redundant earlier in this year, and apparently that cost them almost $2 million to do, but they still made profit.
The results, it did say about when it was talking about those results, it did say that they'd been. It was along the. I'm paraphrasing, but saying how pleased they were with the decision to move to like focus on the CMS games.
Yes,
It does say that early on, doesn't it? On the thing. So that is hopeful. It doesn't say a lot about Elite in there, like at all, even in a positive or negative stand.
No, they mention Elite Dangerous 4 times in the entire report. First of all, saying that it's 10 years old. Secondly, that they're working on it with the community, which, let's be honest, they have been this year.
Yeah,
and that's basically been it. So it's yeah. They don't give breakdowns about how much is how much is coming in, but we know that Planet Coaster 2's coming out. There's Jurassic Park 3, so yeah, that's definitely CMS games out.
And they're still pointing out that as yet unannounced CMS. There was still another one that's on the list, I think, for 2026. So that's quite exciting as well. Maybe that could be like a space CMS game. You never know. It might be a tie into the Elite universe. I also kind of think that our biggest indicator is whether they feel like these 3 potentially 4 ships that they put out this year has been profitable and have been worthwhile for them. The way that we're going to find that out if they continue doing it going forward. If they just stop doing it, we'll be like, okay, it didn't work out for them. It wasn't as profitable as they were hoping, but you never know.
Yeah. I know it's just that until you get a breakdown of what each game is bringing in, because it's not the game business, it's the business game. If the game is not making profit, then it gets shut down, as many MMOs have. That for some reason I seem to enjoy MMOs that get shut down. Well, before they get shut down. So yeah,
Colin's the barometer, guys. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, because I just found out one of my favorite VR PC games has been shut down. They're put into maintenance mode rather. So I thought, oh balls. So yeah, apparently there's not enough of us with VR headsets to make it viable. Oh, that's another thing. I got my VR headset back from the repairers. It's working fine. First time I've played Elite Dangerous in my VR headset since I got it back, so that was nice. Yeah. So overall, positive news for Frontier. Hopefully that also will replicate into Elite Dangerous. We can only wait and see. So before my voice gives out, I'm going to hand over to Claire for the community news, because Alex got stuffed.
And now, to the community coroner.
It's a dead game, innit, mate?
No, Healthy Claire, it is not a dead game. Firstly, what has the community been up to? Well, first on the list, it's us this Friday.
Oh,
this Friday, we're doing hey, Elite's 40. Elite's 40 before I'm 40. Yes. Elite is 40.
I'm rubbing it in.
Hey, Elite is 40 on Friday. We're hosting a stream. We're hosting from 7:30. we'll potentially have some special guests and people joining us. We're gonna be flying about in Cobras in and around Lave Station. Probably end up in the bar because why wouldn't we? It's Lave. And just chilling out, having a bit of a nostalgia trip. I mean, this is probably going to end up a bit of a nostalgia trip, but why not do it twice if we have the airwaves in order to do it? But we'll be doing a stream on Friday. We'd love for you to come and join us and come and hang out and all of that good stuff. That's one thing that's happening. Our second one, Ben.
Yeah, so the Winged Hussars with Roots Rats kind of leading them as best as he can have gone off and done possibly the first complete takedown of every single bit of Aspire, basically, ever. You know, it's normally done one at a time, and you do it once, and then you get the Thargoids, they come and fight you, you do it again, rinse and repeat. Well, those bunch of nutters went off and did them all at the same time. And many, many Thargoid ships were found.
Many were found. Did they get
many were found, and many were hurt.
Okay.
And many commanders were also hurt, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah, and all in the name of science. It worked, so you know that's a win.
Woohoo! Science.
Hey.
Cool. We've got some videos here. Samscape X, who does the Isadona-inspired Maverick Zero series, has done a really wonderfully chill ASMR video about core mining. It's Elite Dangerous core mining immersive audio visual experience, and it's as good as it sounds. It's good. It's a good thing. If you enjoy the noises, hey. Elite Dangerous has got some really good sounds in it. No one has brought that up before at all. This is the very, very first time that I have ever mentioned that. So if anybody's looking for the source to quote who said that Elite has really good sounds, it was me. I said it. But yeah. Soundscape X has done a really, really cool audio video about Elite Dangerous core mining. It's great. Then we have Primetime Casual has returned to Elite after a 2-year sabbatical by doing a speedball run. The video is called In Memoriam 1 Speed, an Elite Dangerous exploration video. And it's a speedball video, but it's just nice to see Primetime Casual back doing Elite things. We also have a must-see places to visit in Elite Dangerous, the River of Oblivion. This is, I mean, the Burr Pit, they're just good at doing the old video malarkey, so I needed to add this one because it's just beautiful, and it demonstrates one of those things, like, you know how in Odyssey all of the planets are really, really flat. This is a perfect example of all of those really, really flat planets that we have in Odyssey.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. It's a really, really pretty video. Then we also have Ricardo's Gaming has done a really, really interesting video called Creating Jaw-Dropping Ship Interiors in Elite Dangerous. And we know that Elite ship interiors are kind of a hot topic. Always. But this is Ricardo's Gaming's really nice level-headed take on ship interiors and what he would expect them to look like. And it's a cool video. I recommend checking it out. That's why I have added it to this list. Finally, is that fine? Yeah, finally, hey, Buckyball's on again. It starts on Friday. This is my race. I did it. I've put it all together. It is called Ruby's Road, celebrating 40 years of Elite. Now, here's the thing. You know, when something is called Ruby, we all know if British science fiction this year has taught us anything, is if we name something Ruby, you have to point at a sign. In the vague hope in 20 years, someone will look at grainy CCTV footage and decide that that's what that's pointing at the sign means. And that is literally, I went with one joke and I ran with it for a whole race. So you have to actually get out, instead of just landing and taking off, you have to get out of your ship, point at a sign, and then get back into your ship. And that's the way that this race works. There's also a thing around an installation as well. I'm really happy with it. I still need to figure out if and what the bonuses are. I think there's only going to be a couple like really slim ones. But yeah, Ruby's Road is starting on Friday, and it will run from Friday until the following Monday at midday, and it's going to be really nice. But that I can't wait. I'm definitely really busy at the end of this month, and it's going to be a nightmare verifying all of these runs. So woohoo! But yeah, it starts on Friday. It should be relatively simple, and I'd love for you to come and give it a go.
Excellent. So if you have a community event which is taking place soon and you'd like us to shout about it across the airwaves in a very, very quick and to the point manner, tweet the crew at Lave Radio or email us at info@laveradio.com.
Oh, Alec will find you.
Oh, Alec, he does. He does find you. That's the worrying thing, isn't it? Anyway, let's have a quick look over the in-game events. Well, to quote Chicken Run, you got to go, those Thargoids are up to something. Because not only did we get the warning last week from Aegis saying that Thargoids can jump anywhere they want, 3 megaships, one from Aegis, one from Sirius, and one from Azimuth, have now started a countdown to jump to the V886 Centauri system, which is right next to the K8 system at the moment, I should point out. And they're jumping in time for Thargoid Thursday. What do they know that we don't? Could we be looking at a Thargoid attack on Shinatra Desra or
no,
anywhere?
Because they don't have the permit.
Yeah.
They'd have to unlock the permit first. I don't think any Thargoids have got an elite rank.
Somehow I don't think the Pilots Federation permit system applies to them.
No. What it has done is it stirred up some excitement around anti-Atlas. Operation Witch Hunt, other anti-azimuth groups are available, but around those around groups like that have been really excited because the thing that was stopping us from shoving Azimuth Biotech out of the Wangda was the Musashi being in place. Hey, Musashi's skedaddling. So
it's going to be homeless.
Well, it better not be fucking returning. That's all I'm saying. If it comes back, I'm gonna be livid. But we're literally the day that we saw it, the day we saw that the Musashi was leaving, the following tick, war was pending.
Nice.
These people do not fuck about. The following day, war was pending, and then we're now in a position where I think, as of today, we've won 3 days. We've got one more day, obviously the one more tick to win, and then it's going to be there were so many almost every single faction in Zwangda at the moment is caught in a war state or in a conflict state. So when we win, we should just be able to push them right down without starting any more conflicts because all the other conflicts are all locked. So that's going to be really, really, really exciting. Yeah. So that's really cool. I don't know who first noticed that the megaship was going to jump though.
Mad Dog.
Was it?
Did it. Yeah. Ancient elite player. He was part of a lot of the Kickstarter days, but yeah, he noticed that they were moving first, and also indirectly, that led to my first being ganked in about 2 years. Because I turned up at V886 Centauri in my shiny Cobra, thought, oh, this looks quite interesting, and then next thing I know, a Python Mark II drops on me and just blows me away with 2 shots, which, thank you. Ben?
It was just getting me thinking, do we actually know that the Pilots Federation don't award kills to Thargoids? I mean, they've never really been on our side, have they?
Well, we haven't
And
had
they
a PFED
are
alert.
your bureaucracy.
Are you saying that the Thargoids are running the Pilots Federation and we've been working for them
I'm
all
just
this
saying,
time?
what's stopping a Thargoid from applying?
Have you, just out of curiosity, how close is your nearest tinfoil? Is it in fact on your head?
It's in the kitchen, it's fine.
Okay.
I think it's a leak in his Cobra Mark III cockpit. I think it must be a leak somewhere.
I did see you a minute ago underneath
I was just
Jameson's
having a
Cobra.
barbecue.
I'm sure you had some fumes or something there, mate.
You missed me a few minutes after that. I decided to go and have fun with one of the
I was expecting you to say tailpipe then.
No, fiery geezer things.
Oh, did you get yeeted?
No, I was hoping to get yeeted. Instead, I just got cooked.
Oh no.
Yeah, so basically, you got off on a big ejaculation then.
No, I just got.
He confused water and lava. That's what he did. He confused water and lava.
Okay.
Oh, this looks like fun. Squish.
Understandable.
It was a very, very pretty way to die.
Yes, well, okay. We've actually had a Galnet news. It seems to be Galnet news is a Tuesday thing now. So, yes. President Winters has acknowledged growing calls for inauguration. So, effectively, it's now been, 7 months since the disaster on Ray 3. And she's been concentrating on Ray 3. And the rest of the Federation's going, okay, anytime now soon? Come on, we can understand, but, you're supposed to be the president over an entire federation here. So, yeah.
do we think that because of, she's going to do this call at the moment and then we're going to have a potential Thargoid attack at the centre of mankind, that maybe the inauguration will get delayed just slightly more? Perhaps.
It's kind of becoming a meme, isn't it, now?
Yeah, it kind of is. But also there is... Do you think she's kind of a little bit unwilling? Like, maybe she's also, instead of it just... we're not saying that she was the one who caused the earthquake, but that she's lent on these disasters.
Wow.
No, but she's lent on these disasters as a way to be like, actually, I can sort of like hang fire from this kind of thing, or I can, and like trying to delay the inevitable.
Would you like me to give you my hat?
No.
Oh, the tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying she did it. I didn't say that she caused him.
But I'm not saying she didn't.
No, Epaphras did in chat.
Oh dear.
I mean, by the time the inauguration happens, like the first act will be to call the next election, surely, at this point.
Yeah, because well, we know Hudson's retiring. He's no longer going to be taking part in politics or in power play. He's stepping down from power play. So, goodness knows what's going to happen there. Does this mean that we lose another federal power play person?
We're starting from scratch, wiping the slate clean, my guys. That's what's going to happen.
But we do know the Blue-Haired Princess is going to be there because they were showing her off all the way through the blue. And
it was very blue.
It was blue. It was that kind of that princess blue, wasn't it?
Dabba-dee, dabba-da.
Right. Well, I'm afraid to say, we've got the Thargoid War update. Here we go. Alerts 2 defended. Invasion's 6th, defended. Controlled, 261 systems, 14 have been cleared, and there are 13 systems in recovery. I thought this was a bit weird, but it seemed that the number of control systems had actually gone up for the latest Thargoid that people were attacking, but apparently it was at 80, it's now down. Next week they're expecting it to be about 60. So we're knocking off about 20 control systems a week. So, yeah. And the last big Thargoid Titan has almost 200 systems.
Yeah, because that one's been just left to work on its own for the most part, I should imagine, while people have been focusing on the other one.
Yeah. So
it still might be Christmas at this rate.
At this rate, yeah. I mean, I still think we might get this next Thargoid by the end of the month, but don't know how long the next one's going to take.
We might have been right with Christmas.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. Lave Radio accurate? How dare you?
Yeah, actually,
not on our watch.
It's now official that I was wrong, because I said by the end of September we'd have all 8 gone. I mean,
Yes.
7 out of 8, not bad, but no.
Yeah, but it's not right though, is it, Colin?
But yeah, so I'm out the pool. I've lost.
Hey.
So, as there is nothing new in the store, and I'm quite sure we don't want to re-power up the soapbox.
No.
I think we'll take an ad break before we go on to our main discussion.
Hey kids, it's Azimuth Biotech. And we're here to tell you some sad news. Our knuckleheads down at the Starshine Imaginarium were a bit too true to life when they made the new Hunter class of Tickle Me Thargoid. And on the advice of our lawyers, Azimuth Biotech is asking for all of you to return your Tickle Me Thargoid Glaves to your nearest toy store to receive a full refund. We would also like to offer our heartfelt condolences to the Jones family in HIP 71682 and invite them on an all-expenses-paid trip to Hind Mine in Titari so that our top scientists can do everything they can to save little Astrid's sight. Keep your eyes peeled for a Titanic surprise coming to a toy store near you soon. This has been a message from Azimuth Biotech. Remember, you owe us.
There's bargains at Etienne Dawn's Unspecified Meat Emporium. Etienne Dawn's Unspecified Meat Emporium haven't just been slicing carcasses, but also slicing their prices. All unspecified meat sausages now 2 for the price of 1. A pack of assorted meat steaks, now with 50% more meat at half the price. How about chops? Our surprising meat chops now also 50% off. And introducing our massive meat hamper. It's a family of 4. No, that should say feeds a family of 4, right?
Stick to the script, Claire. It says it's a family of 4.
Okay, I'll stick to the script.
Yeah, you do that.
It's a family of 4. Etienne Dawn's Unspecified Meat Emporium. Find us in the Lave Business Directory or visit us next to the station mortuary. Etienne Dawn's Unspecified Meat Emporium. You'll wonder how our prices are so low.
From the creators of luggage limpets and passenger lounge suitcase shuttles comes the latest revolution in passenger transportation. The passenger cannon. For centuries, circus performers have perfected the technique of being fired from a cannon. Paired with our new memory gel passenger pod impact absorption technology, you too can speed up disembarkation times from your liner by up to 250%. No longer be limited by pad sizes and excessive docking fees with the passenger cannon. But how does it all work? First, all passengers will be issued with a passenger pod inflation suit during transit. On approach to your passenger's destination, simply fill the inflation suit with our patented impact-absorbing memory gel. Then, once in a stable position in proximity to the destination, effortlessly slide them into the disembarkation chamber ready for launch. The passenger cannon is now available in both gimbaled and turreted varieties to make aiming elementary. Make your liner one of the top 1% in the galaxy. Buy a passenger cannon today. Warning, passenger cannon must not be operated on high-gravity planets or near geysers.
Choose life, choose a ship, choose a career, choose a cargo, choose a fucking big ship, choose palladium, gold and electrical tin openers. Choose good health, low cholesterol and ship insurance, choose fixed interest loan repayments, choose a space station, choose your friends. Choose leisure wear and matching luggage, choose a paint job and hire purchase in a range of fucking colours. Choose decals, exploration and wondering where the f*** you are on a Sunday morning. Choose sitting in that chair, running mind-numbing, spirit-crushing trade routes, stuffing f***ing junk food in your mouth. And choose rotting away at the end of it all, pissing your last in the void with no one out there to hear you, bury or do anything as you drift away in cold space. Until some comes along to steal your ship, your cargo and your clothes, leaving your bones floating out in space. Choose your future. Choose life. But why would I want to do a thing like that? I choose not to choose life. I chose something else. And the reasons? There are no reasons. Who needs reasons when you've got onion heads?
And welcome back. Well, as this Friday is Elite's 40th anniversary, it's the longest running video game franchise there is, according to the Guinness World Book of Records. It's now become middle age, so I think we've got people in the chat suggesting we should buy a motorbike, which I know that Ben would like anyway.
I would like a space motorbike. I'm trying to surf these, but it's not working so well.
Now, one of the things that I did do as part of this was I decided to scour YouTube to see, what YouTube was what's said about the original Elite game, and I found quite a few YouTube videos which played either tribute to Elite or they go into technical dives. The first one, we're going to put links and all this in the show notes, so you should be able to find them. First one was Kim Justice, who does a very, very in-depth analysis of basically how the game was all put together and basically the history of Elite up until I think when Frontier first came out. So if you wanted to see how many platforms, and there were a lot of platforms this game came out on, then that's Kim Justice. There's a Channel 4 documentary which was put on the internet. It's called Brits Who Made the Modern World, which was originally a Channel 4 documentary with Peter Snow, and he covers exactly the same kind of subject, but in this case, Peter Snow manages to get interviews with both David Braben and Ian Bell. There's also got Alexander the OK. Now, what he does is that first of all, he goes over the why the game was so important, and then goes into a great technical dive about how the game's code actually worked and all about the procedural generation. That's one if you really want to try and recreate it on the Raspberry Pi. It's a little bit above my pay grade. Then on top of that, we have Bedrooms to Billions and Computer File, both of which do, again, in-depth investigations into how the game was put together and its effect on games that came afterwards. Because one of the things that people have always, Rockstar Games always said to David Braben is that the reason that GTA is the way it is because they wanted to create Elite but in a city. So you could do anything. The idea being you could do anything you want, but there are consequences if you do it wrong. And I also included the almost 10 years old video now of the making of Elite Dangerous from EvDev. I rediscovered that and went, ooh, God, doesn't that interface look different?
Really?
Yeah, well, look, you can tell the alpha and the beta versions of the interface certainly looks a lot different. When we see the released version, it looks a lot more refined.
You know what? I wish we could actually go back and replay them.
What, the scenarios?
Yeah, I'd just go back and play with those pieces of history.
If I remember rightly, they were dodgy as heck. There was so much rubber banding going on. Yeah, so
it's still very nostalgic. I remember.
And yeah, I must admit, and Alan still sort of lords it over me every single time. He managed to kill me quite a lot in the Pirates versus Bounty Hunters game mode, which I am still suffering from the humiliation because I didn't know what his commander name was. And that was the time before when you attack someone, you didn't get a warning saying your ship is under attack. No, you just exploded. So yes, there will be a reckoning, I reckon, at some point. So let's have a quick chat around the crew. Now, this is going to be quite ironic because I think two of the members of the crew here aren't old enough. In fact, the game is older than them.
Yeah, it is. We're all young and hip and cool, isn't it, right, Chris?
Yeah, young and cool, isn't it? Young and cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's us.
cool.
That's us, Peter.
Cool
Yeah, young cool.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
Carry on, Colin.
Yeah, I've just managed to embarrass my son earlier by saying everything's all a bit skibbity.
Oh God!
Oh no!
You didn't. That was like so last year, Colin.
I know. He looked ready to punch me, or the look of disgust.
We should do like how there's those Lave, those really out of touch old people talk about or like doing promotional vids but using Gen X language or Gen Z language to we should do that about Elite we absolutely have to do that about Elite Dangerous. It's happening. It's happening. Well maybe we'll spitball it and come up with something on Friday, but we need to say stuff about Brat Summers. I need to hear you saying that kind of stuff.
But where are we going to find older people to talk about Elite Dangerous though?
I don't know. Let's just throw a dart at the board.
Just saying, where are we going to find younger people to get the scripts for this?
I mean, I think you'll find that me and Chris are young and hip and cool. Did we not just mention this?
Yeah, I'm not sure my son would agree with that.
Listen, my guy.
Just saying, like, just saying.
I don't think we've got the riz to pull it off. Oh God.
Did you just say you don't think we've got the riz? Did you fucking hell?
Elite Dangerous, it's still banging, alright? Elite Dangerous is a banging game and I'm not going to have anyone hold us against it.
It understood the assignment.
My sides are hurting right now. Anyway. Okay, so highlights from the crew of the last 40 years of Elite. Right, okay, you know what? I'm going to ask both Psyche and Chris Mark for when did you actually become aware of Elite? And then when did you find out about its history?
Ooh. Do you want to go first, Chris?
I can do. Yeah, so mine, I both was around about the same time because I found out about Elite through Click. The BBC sort of tech program was doing an item about the Kickstarter when it first started. So on that, they sort of went into a bit of the history of the game. I didn't know that much about it. But of course, something came up with a space game on my radar, and I was like, okay, I'm interested in this now. So yeah, that's when I sort of found out about both at the same time, really, because I can't remember if it was Kate Russell that did the piece, but it was sort of...
It probably was. Kate did so much about Elite.
Yeah, so it was like an interview with David Braben, and then it was a bit about how would people fund the game, and using Kickstarter at that point was relatively new to fund the game, so it was kind of taking it from that interest perspective. And then obviously they did a couple of pieces once the Kickstarter had been fully funded as well. So yeah, that was when I first discovered it. So I can't remember what the exact date was when all that got announced. But yeah, that was
2012.
my first one. 2012. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about right. And you hadn't heard of Frontier or First Encounters or anything like that. You just
I hadn't at all. It turns out since I've been talking about Elite with my dad used to play. So there you go. Sorry, gents.
Oh no.
Amazing.
I don't know about you, Ben, but I'm really feeling it tonight. Yeah.
Hey, do you want me to just rub some salt into that wound as well? Would that help?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, right. So, my first being aware of Elite at all in the slightest was being told about it by a very, very good friend of mine who was like, I used to play this with my dad, and it was amazing, and I just started playing it again, and now I found this group that I'm going to be playing with, and imagine this but with more swearing in it. I found this group that I'm going to be playing with, and it's going to be amazing, and now I'm going to and fro to Colonia and back. It's a really, really long way. It's a really, really expansive game, but there's just so much involved in it, and it was like, it's going back and forward, and I'm going back all the time, and it's really doing my head in, and I'm going to complain about it for 3 weeks. So my first understanding of Elite was Kremen complaining about it for approximately 3 weeks on the on the trot, doing the taking the leaflets to Colonia as part of that initiative to get more stuff over it.
Yeah.
That initiative, that was my first. That's 2016.
Go Kremen.
Was he's mad at me because I did a really bad impression of him, but he's mad at me for saying in it, but not for saying that there was more swearing in it, because he knows that there was. But he was doing that, and I was asking him about the game because it was I kind of like space. I was like every normal female presenting child in the 90s. I also enjoyed Thunderbirds, and definitely not any of the girly stuff that I was supposed to. But yeah, so I was very much into space and all of those kind of things, and we used to make model ships, and I remember making ships, Apollo ships with my dad, and I think when Katie and I were 14 or so, around that sort of age, we got one of the very old consoles, not consoles, like a Spectrum or something along those lines, secondhand, with a big job lot of games. I think some version of Elite might have been in that. I have a very, very vague memory of seeing between playing various bits of Dizzy Egg and things along those lines. There was definitely a space game in there. So it's always it kind of like, oh no, hang on, that like looking it up, oh that made sense, and oh wow, and just seeing how far back it went, and that it was a Braben's from Nottingham, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah. So he's a Nottingham boy, close to my heart. Nottingham girl right here. Nottingham roots, all of those cool things, and I was like, yeah, it looks all right. But Kremen had been complaining about it for 3 weeks. So you'll forgive me for not being super excited to play. But I have really fond memories of starting playing this game because my husband went, oh, Elite, I remember playing Elite, and then literally bought it and dove straight in. And then I have this being a third wall between my husband and my best mate when they're playing Elite together, third wheel between my husband and my best mate when they're playing Elite together, and being like, oh, well, I'll just sit here on my Todd then, shall I? Until Kremen just bought me a copy of the fucking game. I was like, I'm just going to buy you the game. I think it was bought for me on Christmas Day, December 2016 was when I installed it, and didn't play a lot of it initially, and then played bits and pieces here and there, and then I think March, April time, around that, just
yeah. So, I mean, did you find out about all the previous games at some point?
A little bit in the, I was vaguely aware that there was an original Elite that Kremen had played with his dad. I didn't know about I didn't know about, I knew Elite existed, but I didn't know about like Frontier First Encounters and the other games that sat between the Wireframe Elite and Elite Dangerous. I didn't know that there were others until I came on Lave and we started talking about other games, and I was like, oh shit, I need to do my research. And then I didn't. I just let you guys tell me.
Yeah, that's what a chief archivist is for. Okay, Ben. I'm going to ask you, just to make me feel slightly better about all the youngsters that are running around this station at the moment. When were you one of the original 84ers, as I call them?
I wasn't an 84. It was a few years later.
Oh God!
But I was on a BBC.
Not even.
So it might have been 80, it might have been 86, 88. Something like that when I first played it.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where I do wish that Stapler or Fozza or someone else was on.
Oh, Fozza's younger than I am, Colin.
Yeah, but he played the original at least.
Well, I played the original.
I think. Wow.
Yeah, I played the original, but it was a couple of years old at the time. And yeah, I played it on the BBC and spent far too many hours after school loading up, and and I think I can't remember if I had it on the BBC's. It wasn't a tape; it was definitely a disc, or I might have even copied it onto one of the EPROMs to make it load faster.
Wow.
Because it was just one of these things. I was like, it was almost my always game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I used to play that so much. Yeah, back in the day. And then I kind of left school, went to university, and found girls. Which meant I did miss out on the whole Frontier thing.
Yeah.
Even though I was aware of the Frontier and things like that, because I had a friend who played Frontier on the Amiga, and he was like, "Yeah, you'll love this." I was like, "Yeah, I probably would, but I don't have an Amiga, and I don't have a PC."
But there is a girl over there by the bar. See you later.
More or less. I mean, I was playing things like Marathon and the original Doom and stuff like that as well back then.
Oh, in the 90s, hey.
Yep. Yeah, so, and Worms. We were playing a lot of Worms. So yeah, the whole Frontier thing, basically, I was aware of it, but it passed me by. And then, of course, when the Kickstarter came around, I was... Well, it was because the Elite Kickstarter came just after the Star Citizen Kickstarter.
They were happening at the same time at some point, weren't they?
There was some overlap, but the Elite one was... The Elite... I saw the Star Citizen Kickstarter. I was like, oh my god, I have to get in on that action. Because, I was aware and I liked the Wing Commander games from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have to get in on that kind of stuff. And then, just after that, I saw the Elite one. I was like, shit! I've just spent like 40, 50 quid on Star Citizen and Squadron 42, because there was both of them for the same low price.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Are you okay? I felt that, Ben. I felt it.
He's scared that someone will find out how much he spent on it.
Well, it's been over 10 years. Let's just say that. Christ, it's been over 12 years now. And then the Elite one came out. I was like, I can't back that game, which I enjoyed its predecessor to, and not back this, which was my first true gaming love.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I originally backed it just to the level where I got the I was like the 40 quid. I think it was like 40, 50 quid or something again.
Yeah.
Where you got you got a Cobra with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might have been the Bounty Hunter Cobra. And you got the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's gotcha.
So
and
then
would have been before you got all the beaters and stuff
then,
for free.
Like everybody else, I didn't get, not for free. Had to jaunty up for them.
Ah, there we are. There's a phrase I haven't heard in about 10 years.
Yeah, let's see how many of our... Actually, no. Do Chris and Claire know what jauntying up is? That's a question.
No. I'm not going to even bother with that one.
Was this doing a booster?
What are you?
Actually, you're not far wrong.
Like putting extra in, putting like more.
Yeah.
What they do is there was a guy, I can't remember what his...
Jaunty.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a guy we called Jaunty. I can't remember what his full name was. Someone will remind me at some point. And basically, when in the chat room where when all this was going on, he'd say, "I say I'm going to put another $5 in," and he was doing that every day or something until he got to something like the alpha backing level. So we'd all used to say, "Right, okay, are you going to put more money in?" "Yep, I'm going to jaunty up." And that's where that came from. It got such traction. Kate Russell put it in her book as a card game.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of Elite Dangerous humor in Kate Russell's book that a lot of you would probably recognise.
And even more that you wouldn't.
Yeah, completely. Right. Well, I guess that just leaves me. Highlights for the last 40 years.
Tell me about your Elite Dangerous story, Colin. We'll do highlights in a minute. We'll go for Elite Dangerous. Tell me your Elite Dangerous story. How did your Elite Dangerous journey or your Elite journey start?
And it begins in black and white as it sort of fades in.
Elite sepia tone.
No, it was black and white with a bit of green and... Was there green and yellow in there?
No, mine would have been red. Because it was the Spectrum version I first.
Okay, right.
And I'm going to put the Holvis music in on post.
Yes,
by the
way. I used to love these kind of space shooter games, even from the right. Look this up in the history books. The Atari 2600. There's a game on that called Star Raiders, which also was supposed to be the sequel. The sequel to it was also the video game that you're supposed to play in The Last Starfighter, which is another film you'll have to look up. Probably.
That was a great film.
It was, but yeah. So I was into space games from a very young age, say about 10, and on the spectrum there's all these different space shooters, which you basically went from one sector to another to shoot some sprites on the screen, and then that was it. There was no true 3D or whatsoever. And then I heard about this game on the BBC that everybody was raving about, and then a year later, it finally came to the Spectrum, and it was the most expensive game you could buy on the Spectrum. And it took me a month to save up with my paper round in order to get it. This is how long ago it was. And then I basically got it, and then nobody saw me for about 2 months. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this is because I was playing Traveller before role-playing games came into fashion, and there's so many similarities that some people might say that they lifted a few things from Traveller in the Elite game as compared to Traveller, that I just felt straight in and just, yeah, it took, for 2 months, it just took over my life, and then and it also took over my schoolwork, which less said about that, the better. And at that point, backed off, and then it came out for another version, and I started playing it on the other versions because each version was slightly different. You got more missions, or you got more special missions rather, or there was hidden things like the C64 version had trumbles. You never heard of them. Basically, they were like little Star Trek tribbles that would sort of devour your ship from the inside out. Or you'd be happily dock at a station and go, "Yay, I docked!" And then this screen would come up saying, "Your ship has been boarded by pirates and you died." That was a bummer. But yeah, there was a whole loads of different things, and it got better and better until the ultimate version of Elite is actually on the Archimedes, where it's actually got some proper artificial intelligence, where very much like in Elite Dangerous now, you end up with other ships fighting each other, and you could end up in a dogfight taking a side of one people against the other. And yeah, although I didn't like the flight model in that because there wasn't, a bit of a pain. So yeah, from the age of 13, I've been playing Elite on and off at least once a year, all the way through from Frontier, which I didn't. I'm going to be brutally honest, I didn't like Frontier. I didn't like First Encounters because it was Newtonian physics and it wasn't fun to fly the ship. It was great to explore the galaxy, but it wasn't fun to fly the ship. And then you finally get to Elite Dangerous, and I remember the day the Kickstarter came on, I was actually at work, and then someone dropped me a message saying, you used to play that Elite game. Do you remember that Elite game? Yeah, they're going to reboot it. And I went, what? I was in there straight away, and they put in a bid, and then basically fingers crossed for the whole thing to cross the line. But I missed out on all the Kickstarter stuff where people were starting Kickstarters to start a Kickstarter, if you see what I mean, with all the books and stuff. That's something I really regret doing. I should have done that, but I think.
What do you mean by that? People starting Kickstarters to start Kickstarters? But so are people crowdfunding to pay to?
Yeah. You see that
to pay for the bits where, because there was a kick. Well, I've gone over the Kickstarter to see what were available. One of the things was, hey, we will let you write books in the Elite Dangerous, based in the Elite Dangerous universe. And from what you're saying, people crowdfunded to pay for those Kickstarter levels.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. There was a couple that did that.
Was it Drew who started this, or was it?
It was Drew. It was Drew who started it, and then we had, I think, 1, 2, 4 other Kickstarters. Which, there was 6. There were 6 other Kickstarters that went out there to try and get this writers pack. I mean, one was Dave Hughes to do the Elite Encounters RPG.
Elite Encounters.
Yeah, there was obviously Kate Russell. There was guy down in New Zealand who liked to do the space kilts. Can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Is that one of the ones that was done by Gallant?
yeah. No, those were three
No,
separate
they
ones.
did their own thing, didn't they? Yes.
They bought Gallant's actually bought 3 licenses right there and then, and they were
Yeah.
actually going to buy all 10, but they backed off at the last moment. And yeah, so everybody was buying Kickstarters to do books. We know that I know that the 2 of the projects were funded, and nothing's ever happened with them. Oh no, 3 of them were funded and nothing ever happened with them. But we do have a whole load of books. It's set in the Elite Dangerous universe. Unfortunately, that's all they've been, apart from the that premonition book that came out just before the Thargoids came back. So yeah. Oh yeah, and one of them was actually, he wrote the Pirates. One of the authors was one of the authors that wrote the Pirates meets the Scientists. You remember that that Aardman film? So we had a proper author actually write. Well, the Glance books were proper authors, but it was
proper.
Yeah.
They weren't very good, but they were proper.
I don't know. I thought docking is difficult.
Docking is dangerous, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, docking is difficult was actually quite funny, apart from the last chapter. But yeah, and then I found out the authors only had 6 weeks to write them.
Oh wow! Is that what they had?
That's all they had. The
Nice.
Glance authors only had 6 weeks to write them, while Drew and Alan and the rest of them, they spent a good year preparing their books before. They had since it was funded until the game was released, and then that was quite exciting around that time.
I feel sorry for the poor Glance authors now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when it comes to Elite Dangerous, obviously, Lave Radio comes along, and then the rest is history.
Yeah.
But I think I have tried time and time again to get back into Frontier and First Encounters. I mean, unlike some people on this show, I bought all my games.
I have spoken to David about it.
Shots fired.
I think you made up for it now.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, yeah. And every time I try and go back and play Frontier or First Encounters, even with the fan mods which have made those games really a lot more accessible, but I still can't get into it and prefer playing Privateer instead. But when it comes to Elite Dangerous, it took everything I liked about the original game and everything I liked about Frontier and First Encounters and put them into one game. So when I heard about that, and it went through the whole list of what the functions should be, even before we had landing on planets or anything like that, I went, nope, that'll be my next big game. And I jacked in SOTOR, which was my MMO, my lifetime game at the time, and just went, nope, all my money now, instead of paying for the SOTOR sub, I jauntied up until I got to the DDF level. And
that sounds remarkably familiar. Colin Class played SOTOR at the time as well.
Yeah, because they kept you hanging on for SOTOR, saying, oh no, we've got Starfighter combat coming. Because in the previous Star Wars game, Star Wars Galaxies, you had the ability, you had walking around ships, and you could fly those ships against the Empire or against the Rebels, depending on which side you had. And yeah, it was done by the same people that did X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, so it was pretty good. And they kept on saying they were going to put that in SOTOR, and it didn't happen. And I just went, right, you're not having any more of my money. I'm going to give it to David Braben to get this space game I want. And there we have it. But the most outstanding memory I do have is the first time I flew the Cobra on the original game.
Mm-hmm.
Because every single time you'd played one of these space games before, you move up and down, that's fine. And you move left and right, and it yaws left and right. But not an Elite, because it rolls instead. So first thing that happened was I just crashed into the station. Why did that happen? That ship shouldn't be doing that. And of course, that's because there was a completely different flight model, and that blew my mind, my tiny 13-year-old mind. And then, yeah. And Elite is one of the reasons why I am a software developer at the moment now, because it is... it got to a point where I'm enjoying this game so much. How did they make it? And then I found out they made it in machine code. And you can't learn machine code straight away. You've got to learn BASIC. So I started learning BASIC. And I think within 6 months, I was writing my own games on, little Qbert type games. Or you'll have to look up what Qbert was now.
I know what Qbert is. We know what Qbert is. What about you, Ben? What about a big standout moment in nearly 40 years of Elite for you?
Honestly, there can be nothing better, I'd say, than launching in the old Elite, launching to and I would queue up my tape recorder to do this to the final countdown as you hit the launch button. Yeah, and I will confess, and I still might sometimes do that in Elite. Boosting out, just to the right time and things like that. And then Elite. The original Elite had so many frustrating and awesome moments because, I did get to Elite in original Elite, and I was flying around in a Cobra with forward, rear, and side guns. And I loved shooting the ships behind me. And I wish we had that ability to say, right, I want to enter my forward gun, backward, or my rear gun and things like that. And fly your ship backwards to shoot things behind you. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's why you were disappointed about the turrets not working the way you'd hoped. Because you wanted to...
I think I maintain anyone playing a turret game, they're wanting to recreate the Star Wars the Star Wars Death Star escape scene. That's what they want. They don't. They're not thinking. The only game I can think of, the only film, I can think is remotely like is there was a scene in Babylon 5, and it was one of the shit Babylon 5.
Oh, I remember that. Yes,
where this person basically dives into this virtual reality floaty space, and they start punching things all around them, and then punching them is the ship shooting a turret.
Yes,
and it was like, what the fuck is this shit? It was atrocious.
I think the concept was a little bit too advanced for what it is. These days, you get people doing that in chat VR anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you get that. It is a VR game. There are VR games that punch things that fly towards you. That is a VR game.
Yeah, Legends of the Rangers.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, that's it. Yes, Legends of the Rangers, and it were, nobody wants that. I'm going to go so far as to say nobody wants that, and everybody wants to do the Star Wars scene. And Elite just has not given us that, and I don't like turrets. They are shit. On the other hand, I love shit launch fighters. I love ship launchers. Shit launch fighter sounds like a thing from Dockers, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear. You got Dockers on the mind there.
Wow.
Right, we're getting a Brian alert again.
No.
Well, okay. Okay, so we'll move on to Chris and ask the same question of him.
Sorry, I'm still
Chris.
getting over shit-launched fighters.
Let's not circle back. We're not circling back.
Are we not circling those? Right, okay, I won't circle them. I won't refer to them ever again. For me, memories. Oh, God. First going into the game and being absolutely confused about what I was supposed to do, just ending up in a station in a ship with no notes and just being told, off you go, Commander, was incredibly confusing and a lot of fun doing that sort of initial learning thing. One of my sort of memories of Elite, or one of my bits that sort of I remember all the excitement about, was when the high predictions started, which I know is a lot later in the game, but that was one of those ones where just the excitement quadrupled immediately, sort of thing, and yeah, a lot about that. So yeah, those are sort of my ones. Going to Colonia, getting to go to Colonia for the first time, going off and doing that, exploring. Yeah, I've quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that rivaled that first time in Elite is the first time I put the Oculus Rift on and flew in Elite Dangerous, because that was, I think, everything that I had imagined in my head when I was as a 13-year-old came true at that point. Because we will all know when you actually put the VR headset on and you're in the ship, you feel as if you're there, which I don't think I've ever had an experience that immersive with a video game before. So,
Yeah.
Have I told you guys my first experience of Elite in VR?
Did it involve
You
a
might
sick
have been there, Colin. No, it didn't involve us.
I probably was there.
It was at LaveCon.
Yeah, probably would have been. Unless I would probably would have been running something at LaveCons, but
No, it was at LaveCon, and one of the guys was like, "Yeah, you could, feel free to try my VR thing out." And but okay, right. And I was like, "Okay, this is amazing. I love this." And then it was like, "Get up, stand around, and walk around the cockpit." And then we just started blethering away with me still in the cockpit, walking around and looking at stuff. And eventually, at some point, I walked back to the seat and leant against the cockpit seat.
only there wasn't a cockpit seat
Which
there.
wasn't there.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, did you do a dum-dum, Ben?
Oh, I did a very dum-dum.
Oops.
But
That's an oops.
Yeah. But it is so immersive, you just forget where you are.
That's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, well, that's what we thought.
I'd love to be able to share my highlight.
Yeah.
My personal highlight. I love that. Thanks for asking. Mine's probably even later. Mine's probably even later than Chris's, because mine is because mine it sits like entirely around when I could get out of my ship and look at the words Micah's Rest sign in an actual ship. Like sat in on an actual station, and that was a name that I like, building that connection and having that connection and being able to actually have the name that I wanted and have that place that I can go to. And I know it's silly, and I know like there were quite a few different creators who were like Lave got one. Lave has their station that they were asked with the Odyssey launch and all of that. They got their station, but it was so personal to me finding out where she was and then being able to go and see this station with a name that meant so much to me. And just me and Psyche both had the opportunity to name stations, and we both named our stations after pets that meant so much to us and really helped us through really, really strong times, and with some of the specialist, most beautiful souls. And for me to be able to have something, even tangible, even in a video game, that I can go and see, and I can go and just spend time at this place, not physically, but not physically, and just remember that remember that soul is so special. And I don't think it's going to be an experience or a feeling that I'm ever going to get with anything else in video games, or it's just something that's so personal to me. it was the most special thing that I could have asked for, and to be able to have that and still have that and still be able to go back to this place is it's a lovely thing. It's a really lovely thing. But also like there's so many cool places where we can do stuff like that, and there's so many like. I really love the moments when we get so many people together. I wasn't around for either distant world. Either distant world I wasn't available for, so I didn't get to see these huge mass jumps that are accompanied by Takoso's wonderful music. But like even when we get took a few weeks ago when we got so many people together in the bar, and we were having to anchor people in to get more people into the bar to come and spend time celebrating our 500th episode. The fucking chokehold that Elite has on me is ridiculous, and it's so special. So fucking special.
It's a platform that's allowed people to connect, which I that's one of the reasons why this game's worked so well, is because it's taken a platform that us oldies do like, and then actually made it available for everybody to join in on.
I've met some pretty cool people. None of you, but met some really pretty cool people.
We'll take that.
Pretty cool people playing Elite. There's a few people that I've met through playing Elite that I'm incredibly fond of.
Yeah.
But not us.
Not you guys.
Oh God, no.
I mean, that's totally understandable.
Yeah, fuck you, Chris, too.
I mean, yeah.
Right, so after punching myself in the mouth, we'll move on to the question of the week, which we've all had our say now, that what's been your most favourite, almost memorable moment of the last 40 years in Elite. So, Claire, would you like to kick off?
Some of these are quite long, so lads, I'm going to say in advance, look for your name against the ones and read and pre-check these before you read them. I have actual genuine Elvis Kremen Esquire has said that having a planetary base with his name on it after a lot of time spent flying to Colonium and back was such a special moment. Remember, that's what got me into Elite. Him bitching and moaning about that. Thanks, Kremen.
We've got Kessinik. I played the original on my friend's BBC Micro and fell in love with the game. I had an Amstrad CPC 464 at home, so got it for that machine. My favourite memory was when I got the special mission and upgraded to Archangel Jameson. Loved it ever since.
Yeah, because that was a special rank you could get. There was a rank above Elite, and that's Archangel.
Excuse me?
Exactly.
Oh, now you've got now you've got the attention.
That wasn't available on most platforms.
No, it's only available on 2 platforms, and that was one of them. And trust me, if Shan was here, he would be spitting tax over it because it was not proper Elite, and it was.
It's not canon.
Just leave it. Anyway.
No, say how you really feel, Colin.
Silent Resi. I can't pin down the single part of gameplay since 1984 that was not remarkable. However, as a kid in primary school, it fueled my imagination. To me, my bedroom was the interior of a Cobra Mark III. It initiated my love for sci-fi, astronomy, and gave me the power to be who I wanted to be. It's amazing what the effects or what it inspires in people sometimes.
Yeah, so I've got one of these walls of text that Claire was on about from Commander Profane Pagan.
Oof.
Right, let me take a breath. I love how the question was phrased. So even me, who mainly played Frontier Elite 2, can talk about my love of this franchise. I remember when I was a small child, around 5 years old, and I cuddled with my mother, who explained the very basic orbital mechanics of our celestial objects. Earth rotates around its axis, Moon orbits the Sun. No, Moon orbits the Earth, and they both orbit the Sun. That was my first intro into the theme of space. But later, in the mid-90s, when I was a small teen, did I get a sense about the true scale of space when I played Frontier Elite 2 on the used Amiga computer I received as a present from our English friends. I'll never forget those feelings of awe and wonder, and I chase those emotions in all my sci-fi entertainment ever since. Oh, to fast forward time and see how the planets do their orbital dance. It was mesmerizing, I'll agree with him there. And Frontier Elite 2, accompanied with the anthology book, The Stories of Life of the Frontier on the Frontier, really influenced my taste in hard sci-fi. I copied its illustrations a lot, and the story of Jax caught my fantasy even before I managed to read it in English. My heart was beating so fast when I visited Jack's station at Colonia for the very first time. For the first time, sorry, I added the word "very." Even though I knew it was not the old Peter's base, and he is not a slave of the bar anymore. It was not an easy play. It was not easy to play without English knowledge, but I had a dictionary next to my hand. I must admit, I played Elite 1 as well, but next to First Encounters 2, my 10-year-old self fell in love with the colourful one. Happy birthday, my dear Elite, and my dear community, 07. That was beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I love the idea of cuddling up with your mom playing Frontier. That's awesome.
Well, the thing about Frontier was the original Frontier was the fact they managed to get the entire galaxy on 880K. One floppy disk.
Yeah, not even double-sided.
It wasn't.
Or double density. No, it'd be double density, wouldn't it?
Did you like fast forward time through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the Star Dreamer drive was.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had full Newtonian physics in there, which was great for actually getting from A to B, but absolutely horrible to fight other ships in. It wasn't until John Jordan came up with a mod that allowed you to use lateral thrusters that all of a sudden it started to get good. But that was, I think, 10 years after the game had been first released.
Commander Schnails says my answer has to be docking at a space station. I still vividly remember being around a friend's house, playing on his computer and docking in the original Elite using his fancy analog joystick. Having the joystick push just the ideal amount over to get the spin to match perfectly. It all just came together. But then lurch forward nearly 30 years. I was totally blown away on the Alpha flying out of that mail slot the first time. How amazing that looked and felt. Awesome.
Yeah.
When the original Elite Dangerous, when that first came out, did you still, when you were flying your spaceship for the first time, did you always come out and see a ring planet? Was that always the first thing that you saw as you left?
No. It depends on when it was. If it was Alpha 1, you didn't see anything like that. If it was, you didn't actually get to muck about with any planets at all, really, until I think Alpha 3 or Alpha 4.
Right.
And even then, you weren't launched from there. You did launch from a Coriolis. And the first time that happened, the first time you did a dock or a launch, that was special.
Do you remember that Coriolis and the cartons of bio-waste?
Yeah, so because it was an alpha, they asked us to test things as much as possible. So what people would do is they'd just fill their ships up with bio-waste and just dump them everywhere. And the reason for that was so that they could test how many objects the engine could handle in an instance. But it was awful because you were flying towards the station and it was just bio waste everywhere.
And the bio-waste containers were inside the station as well, bouncing off of all the objects, and the gravity in the station was pulling them to the ground, and then they're bouncing off the roofs and everything. It was a death trap at about 1 FPS.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why if they get more than a certain amount of objects in an instance, they all suddenly start disappearing.
Yeah.
Funny that.
Who'd have thunk it, eh?
The experiment paid off. I have got Nicey. Mine is probably quite recent, but publishing my first article about this game and seeing the wonderful response by the community, a community who love the game and sharing their knowledge. That and finding out the game Elite Dangerous based on is older than me. Same Nicey. Same Nicey.
We don't like Nicey anymore.
I like the division that's currently happening between the two sides of the coin. Oh, it's really nice. It feels really even.
It's Gen X versus right.
What can I say? Me and Chris are having a brat summer.
Oh God.
I'm never saying that again.
We got you. Anyway, right. Murderbot 3 or Murder 3 Bot. Oh, Murderbot. Oh,
Murderbot.
He's using elite spelling. Anyway, my most memorable moment was years ago when the Salome event happened for Drew Wagar's book. Watching everyone gather together to try and keep her alive as she travelled was such a cool thing to be able to do. I don't think I've ever seen anyone like that in any other game that I played. Yeah, it was an event. I don't think it went the way anybody. Well, I think it went the way everybody expected it to do because Grant called it. He said, "Yeah, she's going to get off by Harry Potter." Exactly what happened. But the actual emotion that was wrapped up in I know people that were devastated with what happened, and you're sort of there thinking, okay. I know it was a fun event. I know it didn't turn out how you wanted, but it is just a game.
No, you can't say that, Colin. I said that once. Some people got real mad. It is just a game, though. I do agree with you.
But yeah,
it's a brilliant game. Don't get me wrong, but it's a game.
And as soon as you mention that event, everybody has an opinion on what should have happened and what did happen, and it's up there with the Gnosis.
It's a thing. Yeah, so Commander DeCamper was saying the most recent Salvation storyline driven saga and the community's reaction to it is what made Elite come alive for me.
It's like Ted Lasso. Football is life. No, Elite is life.
No, I get that with Salvation though, because I know I've like the whole Salvation thing for I've met people through I've met quite a few people that I'm really good friends with now, like legitimately through Operation Witch Hunt shit, or like just a general distaste towards what
it's fairly safe to say that you're fairly involved in not involved.
You know what?
In the storyline of it.
The thing, and I know if Katie had if Katie had when she said, "Oh, I want to reply to this. I'll do this." That when she wanted to, I know that she would have said something along the lines of being like learning the law and then mentioning something and then seeing something that she'd come up with actually mentioned in Elite Dangerous lore, like actually in the game as a thing, mentioned in Galnet articles and all of that kind of stuff, is something that I think will stay with her for a really long time.
Yeah, we had the same thing when they put the orange Sidewinder in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that when that article came out that said Operation Witch Hunt contesting, and I literally fell off my seat. I was so excited. It's so cool. It was so cool to see a community reaction to something that you see a lot of people writing open letters and making fake CGs or doing things that don't involve the actual in-game mechanics that Frontier have handed you, and basing on all of the information that is solely available in the game. And it was always really important to us to make sure that we were doing something that was within the game boundaries and not like outside of the game boundaries.
You know, one thing that I've loved that they've done is that in the original 1984 version, there was always rumours that used to go around the schoolyard about space dredgers and generation ships and all that kind of stuff, and people would search through the code looking for them, and but they weren't in there. But of course, there's always some mate that said, "Oh no, I've seen one. But I like the fact they've taken all those little urban legendy bits and put them in this game.
Yeah, and it's always been for me at least. It's always like there are a portion of a quite sizable sometimes portion of players who want to create different mechanics outside and try and manipulate the game using mechanics that aren't already available to them, when there's a perfectly adequate, wonderful playset and stories and lore that actually exist within the game that you can build things around. And then they wonder when they sort of like wonder and throw their toys out of the pram a little tiny bit when Frontier aren't taking them seriously because they're trying to inject their own spin on stuff rather than using the tools that they've been given. I find it really fascinating, but I'm also kind of like, well, what did you expect was going to happen? Do you know what I mean? It's very interesting. I don't know. Excuse me. Commander Terakov says 2 from me. Both tales I've narrated many times before, so they may be familiar. After playing the original Elite back in 1984 on the BBC Micro, which in itself was way ahead of its time, and outside of a couple of flight sims, not gaming for a few decades, I looked to see what else I could do with the VR headset that I purchased for a glider simulator I fly. Looking at Steam, I found Elite Dangerous. Elite, I remember that. A short time later, I woke up in the barrel of Mawson Dock to a wow moment as I gazed around in VR. The second is one particular fuel rescue that I performed. At the time, I was getting to be a moderately experienced rat with about 150 rescues to my name. This particular client was on emergency oxygen, and we only had a couple of minutes of oxygen left to work with. The location of the client turned out to be such that, unusually, myself and another rat had an around 40 km boost to reach the client's location after we dropped off into normal space. With the amount of O2 left, that was not a good situation, if it was possible at all. Not slowing down too early at the end of the boost, while stopping within the range of my ship's fuel transfer limpet controller would be key. The pressure was really on. The rescue turned out to be successful. During the post-rescue debrief, I inquired how low the oxygen timer had got. When the response came back, literally 1 second, the adrenaline kicked in and I was physically shaking hard for about 5 minutes thereafter. I've done many, many rescues since and had a lot of fun in other roles in ED, but that rescue is the in-game moment that I still remember clearly years after the event. That this game has been the nexus of this kind of emergent gameplay for... this game has been the nexus this kind of emergent gameplay for is amazing. That's such a cool story.
I mean, it's one thing that we completely forget about is the communities like the Hull Seal and the Fuel Rats.
100%. Using in-game tools.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah, and you have to applaud them because these guys don't get paid. They don't do anything. Just the fact they rescue someone.
Their ships on the line every single day.
Yeah.
I loved doing it when I had the time, and when I was doing it was the free Epic week, whenever it was free on Epic and there were so many rescues I needed doing, I hopped on for a little bit then, and it was so much fun. I haven't switched out my fuel rating ships just in case just in case something else happens and I might need to do it again at some point. So cool. It's the coolest thing. I highly recommend anyone giving it a go.
Cool. So we'll just leave Chris this last one.
I've been left this last one, and I feel that I should be doing an Alec Turner impression.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
I don't want Alec to fall out with me. So I instead just imagine Alec reading this. We should have got him to read this out. I didn't get him to read this out.
Yeah. You left a message for us.
I know. How do I adequately cover 40 years of loving this extraordinary game in one easy to read out soundbite? Well, if I were there, I could waffle to my heart's content, but seeing as I'm not, in the beginning, I remember opening a box and finding not just simple tape loading instructions and a card explaining which keys operated left, right, and fire, but a star map and a function key overlay, a novella, and a starship operating manual as thick as the novella, which began with a letter from an insurance company bequeathing me 250 credits and a Cobra spaceship. And let's not even get into that fabulous new manual smell. This was like no game no one had ever seen before. I doubt even Braven and Bell, ambitious young men though they undoubtedly were, had the slightest sense of how that introduction might just as well have been real, considering how it probably changed the course of the rest of my life. 30 years and a long happy career in computer programming later, I found myself staring at those early ED Kickstarter videos, passing through the mail slot and witnessing the inside of a Coriolis in total disbelief. It was my dream. I didn't even know had come true. A world I'd mostly had to fill with my imagination back in '84 brought to life. But the last 10 years has been far more than that, opening up a wonderful online community where I now have friends all around the world, many who I've met in person, and where I now co-host a weekly podcast about this stupid game, which has just had its 500th show. Amazing, amazing times.
Incredible.
Oh, holy shit. I have just realised that on September the 25th, that's my 10-year anniversary of doing Lave Radio.
Christ.
Can't be.
Don't do that, Colin. I still get imposter syndrome.
That's bonkers, Colin. You'll be getting good at this soon. couple more session practice, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, but Ben started the episode before me, so on
the week before, yeah.
Yeah, so it's your 10-year anniversary.
Ben's got about another year in him before he gets better.
It's your 10-year anniversary, mate. Well done.
Is it my 10-year anniversary? Must be today, more or less.
Nah.
Jesus.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ben. Happy birthday to you.
Let's not. Why?
September the 13th, 2014. That is.
Oh
that
my
is,
God.
That's your anniversary.
Oh, jeez. Jesus.
Commiserations, Ben.
Really old.
And I'm so sorry.
What am I doing with my life?
Yeah, because I remember that episode because you've called me up while I was on holiday saying, "Why aren't you on the show?" And I went, "I can't make it this week. I told you I'm on a holiday."
You're always on bloody holiday.
Yeah.
Wild. It is.
Wow.
Alex should have said it was a stupid podcast about this stupid game.
I think it would have fitted more swear words in as well if he'd been in person. They just didn't want to write them out.
God's true. So that means that episode 536, I'll have done 500 episodes of this blasted show.
Wow.
Oh my God. Anyway, let us move on to any other business. Of course, you can catch the wonderful Chris Mark 4 on Black Diamond FM every Sunday from 12 till 2.
Woo! It's really good. I'd highly recommend watching it.
He broadcasts for 2 hours. He broadcasts for 2 hours, but we all know it should be 3.
Well, Gordon would have a problem with it because it would take over his show. There is a show on straight after Chris.
There's a show on now. I can't invade. Gordon is state claim.
Yeah, unfortunately so.
And yes, Psychic, you're one special lady.
Hey, friends. Hey, do you like charity? Do you like supporting charity? Because I like supporting charity. The one special day sale on Steam is live. You can pick up incredible games like No Man's Sky, Vampire Survivors, and Subnautica, and support physically disabled gamers by going to store.steampowered.com/sale/one special day 2024. That is for the charity special effect. There were so many cool games on this list. I highly recommend checking it out. If you have wanted to buy a game and it is on that list and you are financially available to, make sure that you have a look at that list and go and do it. I'm going to put links everywhere. There's going to be a link in chat if you're watching live. There will be a link in the show notes. Go and do all of the things to go and check all of the stuff, because it's cool. It's really cool. Special effects are really cool, and they do amazing things with accessibility, and I love them very much. So please support.
Yeah. Yes, we've just been raided by, if you speak French.
All right, let the funky music do the talking.
Elite Dangerous have decided to invade, which is very nice of them. So let's do our shout-outs. Our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander that likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/elite dangerous CQC. At present, there is now a new squadron forming with the dedicated purpose of actually beating Musketeers Squadron to the gold CQC trophy. So give them your support. We'll be giving our shout-outs to the other Elite Dangerous podcasts. Those are the Guard Frequency, who do other space games as well. 498, guys. Almost there.
You'll get there eventually. It's okay.
Yeah, eventually. Of course, there's the wonderful Loose Screws over in the States as well. And of course, if you speak French and get raided.
Funky music, white boy.
There's Elite Dangerous podcast, who also do the fantastic mission add-ons as well. Oh dear. Following on this, we have the latest Galnet New Digest as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'd just like to thank all those who have been chipping in the Twitch chat and making me and Ben feel older than the oldest thing ever. So who have you two had flying around with you?
We have had in the bar, we had Buxton, William Solo, Lyrera. On the ground at Jameson's, we've had Evil Flash, Ian McClue, and I don't know who else you've had, Ben.
I was on me Todd until you lot showed up.
All right. And then we destroyed the piece.
Yeah, I was having fun playing with myself.
Oh, God.
Something tailpipe.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That's disrespectful to that grave, isn't it?
He's been dead a while.
No.
Special thanks to Commander Tokuso, JN Trax, and Alan Stroud, who created music for this show. And no, I'm not having a repeat of last week. So that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can find all the contact links in the home/contact us menu of the laveradio.com website. Do let us know if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So, thanks to the Chris Mark Full.
Vous êtes les bienvenus. I think that's your welcome in French.
Wow.
Whoa!
Apologies to the French.
I wonder if Elite Dangerous would like to rate your French.
Rate my French.
I barely passed standard grade. Don't judge me.
I failed.
You failed.
I failed French. Yes.
Oh, okay. I feel slightly better now.
Right. Yeah. Who's might as well point out that Chris also did the tech tonight, so round of applause to Chris.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, thanks to Claire.
Don't forget, see you Friday for some more shenanigans and just like having a bit of a blether over Elite. That'd be cool. Yeah,
Yep.
bring a cobra and talkie talks.
Yeah, bring a cobra and
we'll have a chat in it. Just chill out, you know. enjoy Elite being 40, which is older than I and Chris, but younger than Ben and Colin, who are old people, while Chris and I are young and hip and cool. Just in case anyone wasn't clear on that already.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Or whatever Chris said in French. I just let the funky music do the talking.
I should have stuck to the funky music.
You should have stuck to the funky music.
Yes, you should. Right. Ben, I would have said save us, but no, we won't.
Bonsoir, mes amis.
Okay, fair enough. So until next time, Commanders, fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this? Sounds like someone having an orange inserted into them. You need a safe word. Space can be low. I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Update, 17th of September, 3310. What do you think of when you hear the name Felicia Winters? Charity worker? Aid coordinator? Disaster relief field worker? You may not believe it, but 11 months ago, Felicia Winters was elected to be the President of the Federation in an election that had itself been delayed by 4 months. She decided not to take up the role immediately, instead deciding to meditate and wait for inspiration, letting President Hudson continue as the leader of the Free Galaxy for a bit longer. 4 months later, in February this year, there was an earthquake, or possibly a Rhea-quake, on her home planet of Rhea 3. Winters threw herself into the disaster relief effort with far more enthusiasm than she seemed able to muster about becoming president. 7 months later, she's still in charge of the relief effort for this single, presumably devastated planet, long after the survivors have either rebuilt their houses or moved to a less geologically, or should that be rheologically, exciting planet. Time has been ticking by, but there's still 7 years and 1 month remaining of Winter's 8-year term, should she see fit one day to turn up at the Oval Office in Olympus Village and tell Hudson to shift his fat bottom from the presidential chair. That's if she can work up the enthusiasm to become one of the 2 most powerful people in the galaxy. I know it's not much, is it? but someone has to do it. The patience of the citizens of the Federation is wearing paper thin. It's true that 6 members of Winter's family died in the earthquake, but if she was unable to take up office, she could have chosen to stand aside and let Vice President-elect Isolde Rochester run the Federation, rather than letting Republican President Hudson continue to implement policies that are anathema to the Liberal Party. Well, now Winters has finally spoken up and says that she will, against all expectations, agree to become president. Thanking the people of the Federation for their more or less non-existent warmth, generosity and understanding while she failed to lead them for a year, in a no-shit Sherlock moment, she says that it's time for her to step up and become president. And then she says she won't become president quite yet. It'll take time, apparently, to pass on the mantle of Disaster Aid Coordinator-in-Chief, even though the disaster is now ancient history and there's no longer anyone needing help. When the time is right, Winters concludes, she will humbly accept the role of President of the Federation. When the time is right. The time was right in October last year, 3309, 4 months before the disaster in Rhea. It seems highly likely that she'll be a year late to her own inauguration, and that she'll have allowed the man who may well have been complicit in the sabotage of Starship One and the attempted murder of President Jasmina Halsey to continue to run the Federation for a whole extra year.